Hello, my name is Nicole Solis, and I'm a graduate student as well as an advanced placement U.S. history teacher in Mississippi. My video lecture is on Frank Lambert's Peddler and Divinity, George Whitefield and the Great Awakening, and will begin with a summary of George Whitefield, followed by a summary and analysis of Lambert's article. I will also include research from other historians regarding George Whitefield as an itinerant preacher and a slave owner. As an Anglican evangelist, George Whitefield's entrance into the American religious scene in 1739 could not have been more fortuitous. Clergymen were struggling with their congregants to remain subservient to their religious leaders, as several itinerant preachers were spreading the gospel in less conventional areas and to less conventional people. Different historians disagree on the causes, but they do agree that between 1740 and 1750, Whitefield's popularity skyrocketed. Some say it was his fanciful rhetoric, others say it was historical circumstances. However, one historian, Frank Lambert, gave credit to Whitefield's savvy business sense as the catalyst to the Great Awakening and inspiration to later evangelists. Lambert argued that Whitefield had a commercialized mind due to familial experience, childhood friendships, and a growth of consumer society leading to new merchandising techniques. According to Lambert, each of these experiences inspired Whitefield to utilize a commercialized approach for his religious revival. One of Whitefield's many tactics included a shrewd management of funds. Heeding a merchant's advice, Whitefield purchased products in Britain to sell to consumers in the colonies. He also utilized slave labor at his plantation in South Carolina to fund his orphanage in Georgia. I found it interesting that a preacher of the Great Awakening would own slaves as well as preach about salvation and the forgiveness of sins. Historian Stephen J. Stein claimed that Whitefield anonymously wrote an epistle called A Letter to the Negroes Lately Converted to Christ in America, and deduced that this would resolve the paradox in which Whitefield could advocate for Black people and slavery simultaneously. Stein freely admitted that most of his evidence was circumstantial at best, and he put up a compelling case by utilizing Whitefield's past writings and evidence of Whitefield's fear of Black people. Another piece of evidence was his relationship with Jonathan Bryan, who was mentioned in the full title of the letter. Stein chronicled the friendship between Bryan and Whitefield and concluded that a mass conversion of slaves around Georgia and South Carolina occurred coincidentally before the publication of the anonymous letter proved that Whitefield was the author. However, a lot of questions were left unanswered. 2 years later, Stein recanted his previous assumption and gave credit to Anne Dutton. However, his earlier essay did reveal helpful clues regarding Whitefield's hypocritical beliefs on slavery and the treatment of Black people, and it returned me back to Lambert's economic argument. Whitefield's orphanage in Georgia was facing economic ruin, and he needed to devise a way to salvage his philanthropic enterprise. In Georgia, slavery was illegal, but just next door in South Carolina, the slave trading was booming. In 1740, Whitefield referred to slave masters as monsters of barbarity. But by 1747, when the money began to dry up, Whitefield turned to the peculiar institution. Upon gaining ownership of a South Carolina plantation, Whitefield wrote, "Blessed be to God, the purchase is made." With the help of slave labor, he was able to climb out of his slump and onto a path to a religious revolution. The Grand Itinerant homed in on his advertising skills to build quite an evangelical empire. Not only was he popular in England, the scope of Whitefield's advertising in colonial newspapers was extensive, spanning from northern New England to the southern colonies. Not everyone was excited about Whitefield's innovative approach to marketing religion. Amy Leyerzapf's essay provided an in-depth analysis of the struggle between traditional Protestants and New Age revivalists. Her argument stated that the debate regarding itinerancy displayed a deeper conflict that illustrated the growing anxiety among the clergy concerning the shift in hierarchy between clergy and congregation. Leyerzapf concluded that the effects of the itinerancy debate led to such ideals as freedom of religion, individual freedom, and equality. According to Lambert, Whitefield's joining of the secular and non-secular originated from both his early upbringing and the societal changes of the market revolution. This marriage of business and religion benefited the Great Awakening while also tarnishing his relationship with the religious traditionalists. Ultimately, Whitefield's contributions to the religious community and the United States founding fathers overshadowed his questionable ethics when it came to commercialization of religion and advocacy of slavery. Thank you.